We begin in the imagined future of April 1984. We're introduced to the character Winston Smith, 39 years old and a low-ranking member of his society's middle class. A worldwide atomic war following World War II has reshaped the world into 3 massive superstates. The physical setting of 1984 is London, England, now known as Airstrip 1, part of the imagined superstate Oceania. Oceania is locked in a perpetual war, a war with no end, with the 2 other meganations, Eastasia and Eurasia, over the rights to the disputed territories of the rest of the world. In Orwell's dark future, the superstates are a totalitarian regime. That means that one ruling party has total authority over the rest of the people. In Oceania, the supreme class leader is called Big Brother. The severe class structure works as follows. It's the working class proles at the bottom, and the outer party of which Winston is a member, then the inner party, and then at the top is Big Brother. So that every citizen is reminded who the boss really is, the cities and buildings are plastered with posters of Big Brother's leering face and the words, "Big Brother is watching you." In Winston's apartment, Winston is constantly watched by a telescreen. We learn that Winston is a propaganda officer at the Ministry of Truth, one of 4 ministries that make up the party's government. The others are the Ministry of Peace, which oversees the perpetual war, the Ministry of Plenty, which oversees Oceania's economy by rationing goods, and the Ministry of Love, which manipulates citizens to love Big Brother by brainwashing and torture. Winston goes to work at the Ministry of Truth, where his job is to rewrite history and create propaganda that suits the party's version of events. The Ministry of Truth controls the populace through doublethink, belief in contradictory ideas, slogans such as "war is peace" and "freedom is slavery." Back at work, Winston reads through a children's history book about the glorious accomplishments the party has had since the revolution. Now, Winston has no way of knowing whether the book's claims are true, since the historical records before the pre-revolution era are not available. Now here, Orwell gives us one of the most important and significant quotes of the whole book. In the end, the party would announce that 2 and 2 made 5, and you would have to believe it. At night, Winston writes in his diary that 2 and 2 make 4. For Winston, truth is not what the party says it to be, but something objective and concrete. Book 2 changes Winston's life drastically. In Chapter 1, Winston is passed a note from Julia that simply says, "I love you." Now, he doesn't understand the significance of that, but suddenly his suicidal thoughts are changed to this intense longing to live. Winston and Julia plan a meeting in the countryside, far from prying eyes of Big Brother. Winston and Julia carry on an affair in the countryside. Winston and Julia carry on their illegal affair in an attic of an old junk shop owned by kindly Mr. Charrington, who Winston believes is sympathetic to the rebellion. After Winston's affair with Julia becomes an everyday part of their lives, Winston is approached by O'Brien, who invites him to his home, something that is never done in Oceania. Julia and Winston go to O'Brien's home, and O'Brien wants them to declare allegiance to the Brotherhood. Winston is fascinated by O'Brien and gives him his full and complete trust. Just as Winston is beginning to believe that the future is better, things go terribly, terribly bad. In the junk shop, where Julia and Winston have been sleeping together, a voice calls out to them, "You are the dead." Winston realizes, to his horror, that a telescreen has been hidden behind a picture of a church the entire time. Just then, the thought police bursts in, led by the deceiving Mr. Charrington, and Winston and Julia are arrested and taken to separate cells in the Ministry of Love. Arrested for his crimes, Winston sits alone in his cell, monitored all the time by telescreens. After constant surveillance, Winston is finally visited by O'Brien, who is not a member of the Brotherhood like Winston believed, but was a party operative who has been spying on him the whole time. Winston is then subjected to days of torture, where O'Brien increases his pain level if Winston does not answer a question correctly, or to O'Brien's satisfaction. O'Brien explains that Winston is delusional, and he will not be killed because that would make him a martyr, and might influence other people to rise up against the party. He also tells Winston that Julia has already converted and betrayed Winston's trust. As part of Winston's last stages of re-education, he is taken to room 101, a notorious cell deep within the Ministry of Love. There, Winston is subjected to his worst fear. A cage of rats is placed by Winston's head. With one pull of the lever, O'Brien explains, the rats will be unleashed on his face. In a moment of panic, Winston shrieks that he wants the torture done to Julia instead of himself. He has betrayed his love. Satisfied that Winston is now broken, O'Brien lets him go. At the end, Winston sits at a cafe drinking Victory gin. Even news of armies advancing on Oceania stirs little interest in Winston. He sits at the cafe and unconsciously traces something in the dust on the table. 2 + 2 = 5. His grip on objective reality has been lost. He admits to himself that his only love is for Big Brother. His humanity has been taken for good. At its core, 1984 is a warning against totalitarianism, a political system in which the state has total authority and no citizens share in the decision-making of their government. Orwell also explores the power of propaganda to control a populace. Truth is relative and accuracy is unimportant when a government body needs its citizens to believe something badly enough. Of course, such control over people would not be possible without technology. 1984 explores the ability of technology to play a destructive role in society. It's important to remember the history surrounding the writing of 1984. It was written in a time of the rise of the Soviet Union and in the shadow of Adolf Hitler's recently defeated Nazi Party in Germany.